Suicide prevention is another thing that I'm passionate about. I feel like we don't talk about it enough. And I think there is a misconception that if we talk about it, we're going to make people think about it and want to do it. But if they're thinking about it, they're thinking about it. If they're not talking about it, then it continues to fester and build up in their system, and they don't feel like comfortable saying anything about it. So I think if we do better with talking to each other, having the conversations about the uncomfortable things, which then will make them more mainstream and not as uncomfortable and taboo, then I think that we can do better with um, suicide prevention. I think it can be prevented. Of course, there's situations where you just don't know, despite you having the conversations. But again, look within yourself. I think many people have suicidal thoughts, but are scared to say that they have them. Or what does that mean? Let me try to make it go away. But again, you have to look within yourself and try to work with yourself, and then be able to address it with others.
Why do you think so many people are afraid to come forward to share their thoughts or feelings?
Because of the stigma. I think that the stigma plays a big role, or how they've been brought up. You keep that stuff to yourself, or dealing with emotions or feelings is a sign of weakness. We don't have time for that. Like, we have to move forward, keep going, or you need to pray it out. If your faith isn't strong enough if you're having these feelings or these thoughts. So then you kind of punish yourself and say, okay, well, I need to pray more. I need to I need to increase my faith, and then everything will get better. Or I'm just not eating the right things. Just totally change my diet. Make sure I'm exercising. All those things are important. Don't get me wrong, but there are also things that you need to acknowledge. And really, if you feel like it's too much, despite you doing all of these things and making these adjustments, then that's the time that you need to reach out and talk to someone. And there's plenty of us out there, and again, it doesn't have to be a clinical therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever. It could be somebody that can be therapeutic for you if you just reach out.
How prevalent do you think suicidal thoughts are in our society?
I think they're very prevalent. I just don't think that they're talked about enough. I think a lot of people battle with suicidal thoughts, and I don't think you should feel bad about that. I also feel like there are perceptions that if you are suicidal, that's a selfish thing, or that you're going to go to hell, and I like to make people kind of look at it in a different way, that it's many times people who are suicidal, it's not selfish, it's actually selfless, because they have the somewhat distorted perception that I am a burden on people, right? So if I just remove that burden, then people's lives will be better. So that's not selfish, that's looking at other people, because you don't necessarily think enough of yourself to think that you matter that much. So I think if you look at it in that way, and not shun people for feeling that way, or not validating those feelings, and saying and making it seem like it's a bad thing that they're feeling that way, then I think more people will talk about it.
Okay. I think many people may feel uncomfortable if someone would come to them to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So what advice would you give to them, just to the general public? Someone comes to you and just starts talking about their feelings of suicide. What advice can you give them?
For one, listen, and don't try to fix whatever it is. And I found that if I'm quiet and I really am in tune and engaging and listening to someone, that right there goes a long way. Also, I feel like if you don't shun them or try to make them feel bad about how they're feeling, or invalidate how they're feeling, I think that goes a long way as well. And ask them, what is it that you need from me in this moment? I don't think we ask that question enough. We just feel like, okay, this is what they need me to fix this, or they need me to whatever you feel like they need for you to do. But if you just ask, what is it that you need from me in this moment? Do you need us just to go get some ice cream? You know, do you need for me just to sit and listen? Do you want me to give you some advice or give you some guidance? Do you want to just sit here? Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want me to hug you? Do you want, you know, so ask them, what do you feel like you need from me in this moment? And I'll try to give that to you.
Oftentimes you see on the news when you hear of suicides, family and friends say, knew they were struggling, but I didn't know it was that bad. So what are some warning signs or ways that maybe we should get more people involved with loved ones? What are some warning signs that someone may be further along in that journey?
If you say I knew something was wrong, then it is that bad. Look at it that way. I also see a lot of people say, oh, this person is doing this for attention. Well, then pay attention. You know, if you think someone is doing something for attention, then there's something that needs tended to. So I think that that's, you know, a major thing as well. And some signs, you know, if you just see somebody that is isolating, withdrawing, not doing this, you know, not having an interest in the things that they used to have an interest in, saying that they want to die, you know, sometimes they'll tell you if they are giving away a lot of things, you know, if they just seem like they are just not themselves, you know, then definitely it's the time to ask more questions and be more in tune with what's going on. But I think if you don't wait until there's a crisis to be in tune with your child or with anybody, then you would be able to know more if something were kind of out of whack, you know, instead of it kind of coming from out of nowhere. Now, of course, there are some impulsive acts of suicide, so it may seem like it came from out of nowhere, but that's why it's important to not wait until you need to look for certain signs, but really try to be as in tune with people as you can, so that you can be somewhat more aware. You're not going to save everybody, and you shouldn't bear that guilt if you weren't able to, if you've known in your heart that you've tried to do as much as you can.